And we're off and racing. We're recording. So this is our first Chronicles on the Fly podcast.
Yep.
Whose idea was this?
Well, I think it was yours, Simon. So,
All right. I suppose what we should first do is introduce ourselves. So obviously I'm Simon. This is Mel, and we know each other
32 years.
32 years. All right. 32 years. First started playing junior soccer together in Perth. Then ended up at, we really lived six or eight houses apart, really.
Yeah, we did.
Even though you had to turn two corners. It was still only about maybe 8 houses max.
It's about the farthest my mother would let me walk to.
Yeah. So we've grown up knowing each other quite well and each other's families. Did speeches at each other's 21st.
Yes, we did. That's a long time ago. But on a side note, we share a lot of same interests and hobbies. Both fans of football, both the Australian rules version and the real version.
Otherwise, you could say our lives have pretty much intertwined.
Exactly.
It's funny, we've never actually thought of that.
Yeah, but it's true.
It has. Our pathway through life has pretty much followed each other very closely.
Yes.
Considering, obviously, played soccer together, went to not primary but high school together.
University,
ended up together. First at different universities, but then finished pretty quickly. Went to university together at the same one, doing the same courses.
It's a brief stint of working together. We actually worked together for a little bit.
We did work together for
6 months.
A few months, 6 or so months.
Yeah. But anyway, this was your idea, Simon, because what we do generally, we have weekly discussions on life. So we thought...
pretty much. We spend, an hour or so on the phone pretty regularly, just shooting shit.
Just trying to solve the world's problems. Not that we do, but we try.
Solving the world's problems. I think our wives are good at telling us that we're probably solving the world's problems and adding a heap more.
True.
All right. So what are some topics that you wanted to discuss?
Oh, a lot of topics at the moment. I think one from the early in the week was obviously that Holden, as a brand, I'm also personally a car fan. I love cars. I always love cars.
Yeah.
And I've always been a Holden man. And true to the brand, I used to own pretty much all my cars have been Holden. Currently own 2 Holdens. And I find it quite sad that the brand is actually leaving.
All right, so what's the story with this? When didn't they move the production of Holden offshore?
Well,
was it at least Commodores they moved?
No, what happened was I think GM realised, I think it all goes back to the GFC really. You start from there. GM was obviously, had a shortfall of cash, a lot of shortfall of capital, and that was trying to tighten up a few things. And in the meantime, Holden as a brand, been manufacturing Australian cars since 1948, really... it was probably costing, GM a bit of quid. But anyway, in Australia, that comes down to the nuts of it was manufacturing in Australia is quite expensive, and GM thought it's too expensive, so we'll just cease operations. And unfortunately, Ford in 2013, when they announced that they were closing down as well, Holden followed, and then Toyota followed suit, and then consequently in 2016, Ford no longer produced, and then in 2017, Holden ceased, and so did Toyota in 2017, which is quite sad, which I think is quite sad as a country like Australia not to have a manufacturing base.
So we don't have any vehicles being
No, we still have heavy commercial vehicles, believe it or not. We have a Kenworth plant that make Kenworth trucks in Melbourne, which is pretty amazing. I know there's a few European trucks like Volvo, I believe, that get assembled in Queensland. So we still have that sort of manufacturing. I know that they're building a supercar in Adelaide called a Brabham. So it's more niche and boutique, not so much the mass manufacturing of vehicles in Australia. So, which, like I said,
so that Brabham car, is it actually an Australian car?
Apparently it's an Australian brand, not just a Brabham. Famous, he was the guy who won
of course, Jack Brabham.
Yeah, Jack Brabham, So I think it's from his family. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% sure. But
was he Western Australian?
No, I think he was from South Australia, actually. I think, don't quote me again.
I was just wondering because there's a suburb called Brabham.
Yes.
Is it out Ellenbrook way, I think?
Yeah, it's out that way, I think.
And a track, isn't there?
Oh, that's after Barbagallo. Barbagallo's the track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right, gotcha.
But yeah, so it's quite. I think it's quite sad that there's no more. But obviously, manufactured cars in Australia, and first that the Australian brand of Holden has actually died.
But I think it's it's been inevitable, hasn't it? That it was coming,
it has.
Because didn't they announce a few years back? Did you mention this? That they moved the manufacturing of Commodores offshore, right?
Correct. Which I think was.
And so, what did that do to sales of the Commodore?
Destroyed it. Absolutely destroyed it.
I mean, wanted an Australian Commodore.
Well, that's right. Correct. I mean, an Australian Commodore is either V6 or V8. Me personally, I'm a V8 fan. Is a larger car, rear-wheel drive.
Yep.
Holden, whoever in their wisdom, decided to make a car, 4-cylinder or V6, front-wheel drive. I was like, come on. You couldn't even read the market, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If people wanted a car, they'd go buy a Camry. They're not going to buy a Commodore, you know?
So sales of that were
sales were just a joke, you know? They got smashed out of the water. But I think they GM kind of like, you know, what's the word I'm trying to say? They didn't really think very carefully about this. They didn't know. They thought, hey, Holden's a brand, we'll just carry on.
Didn't read the market.
Didn't read the market. But failed to read the market, you know?
The history of the market should have told them what to expect.
I mean, absolutely. You know, we got the most, I reckon, Australia as a country has a lot of things, 67 or 68 brands of cars that are available to buy, which is ridiculous. And I think there's nowhere near that in the USA. And yet the USA's got a population of 330 million. Here we've got 25 million. Do we really need those sort of, you know?
So Holden as a brand is no more.
Will be no more.
That's
it. Will be no more. It'll be go down in the GM stable like Pontiac, which they stopped manufacturing and stopped selling Pontiac brand in 2010, I believe.
Yeah. So this, I would imagine also a lot of people crying about this and not driving Holdens.
Yes, well, that's true. And again, there's a lot to blame, and also. There's a few things I believe personally that could have been done. I mean, the government says they spent $2 billion in 2010 to prop it up,
Holden.
To prop up the Australian car manufacturing, whether it was Holden, Ford, or I don't know exactly what the numbers are. And I think to myself that you don't fix you don't fix a problem by just throwing money at it. You know what I mean? My attitude is this: you got to convince the buyer to purchase that vehicle, whether it's a Holden, Ford or Toyota, whatever it was. They have to convince the buyer, right? Now, I believe the government should have done a couple of things. Maybe if they did, instead of throwing money directly at them, just try and stimulate the economy. Try and get people to buy it. You know, why? Why do you want to? Well, number one, why I believe personally, all government departments, whether state, local or federal, should have only been driving Australian-made cars. That's it. That's as simple as that. You know, I mean, I used to drive around and look at my local council who had a Skoda, who had a Hyundai, who had a Ford Mondeo. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah. It's got to be Australian-made. You shouldn't even have a choice. I mean, I won't talk about it, but there was a couple mayors. One mayor had a Prado. Another mayor had a Mercedes. I was like, what's going on here? He's a mayor of a local council. You should have an Australian-made car. At that time, which was Calais or Caprice or Statesman or Fairmont or...
But what about at federal level? What are they driving?
Oh, so, you know, again, you know, I just think they didn't support it enough. I mean, I do remember one time I dealt with some federal departments and they came in and it was a Hyundai. I'm like, what is that, you know? You know, that's wrong. It should be an Australian-made car. So if the government can't support the industry as in believe in the industry... You know, why should the other people? And then Holden again and failed to really read the market. The market was going more towards SUVs and smaller cars, you know.
So does this mean that people driving old VNs and the value of their old bombs have gone up?
I don't think so. I mean, I think they made, was it 3 million Commodores or whatever? So out of those 3 million, I believe, or something like that. Don't quote me on it, but again, some ridiculous amount of numbers of Commodores. I don't think they're going to be collector's items, you know. Yeah. I do think your limited ones will be, but in saying that, your average V6 executive Commodore, I don't think it's going to be worth squeezing.
What about servicing them?
Well, they're apparently going to keep the service open for 10 years. Part of their commitment to Australia. But again, you know,
that could change.
That can change real quick. I mean, they said that they were going to continue manufacturing Holden, when they got the money in 2010, I believe, from Julia Gillard at the time, said they were going to continue to manufacture cars in Australia to 2020, which we know that didn't happen, did it? So that changed pretty quick.
Job losses?
Job losses, yeah, pretty significant. So I think there's only about 800, 900 left in Australia at the time for Holden, but it's going to get culled back to about 200, I believe.
What happens to these people? Where do they go?
You got to re-educate, remove, find new industries. You know, a lot of them were engineering, so they just have to move in other fields, engineering, design. You know, sad.
That type of thing, I suppose, has been happening since since the world industrialised.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just think
industries come and eventually fold. And
I mean, for me personally, I'm a Holden man, so and I believe in the brand.
It's a symbol of Australia, probably as much as say Qantas. Right?
Yeah. Was it Holden meat pies? No, meat pies, Aussie rules, and Holden cars, whatever the saying goes. Good
old 4 and 20.
Good old 4 and 20, but it's But yeah, it's quite sad. I just think it's wrong, and I think the government really didn't.
So after the GFC, in America, didn't Barack Obama spend a heap of money propping up the car manufacturing industry? And didn't that work?
It worked for a little bit.
You would know more about this.
I'm not 100% confident on the exactly about the whole American car industry, but it did work for a little bit. It's I think from what the GM's trying to say is they're changing the direction of the company. They're going to focus on left-hand drive cars as opposed to right-hand drive cars, hence why Holden as a brand and was on the sacrificial lamb, believe it or not. So
think about it, in terms of the size of the Australian market compared to the rest of the world.
Well,
we're a blip.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Shanghai. I mean, population of Australia fits in Shanghai, and that's just one city. You know what I mean? So, and then when you're selling, you sell a lot of Chevrolets in Asia, especially in those.
What I love when people compare population sizes, when Australians compare Australia to the rest of the world, we think that we're so important.
No, we're very, very.
And no one has, no one sees the perspective. We're nothing. We're not considered. We're not thought of.
No, we're very minimal.
The old Sam Newman, we're a dinky little country at the arse end of the world.
Yeah,
he loves saying that. Yeah. It's true.
It is true. But we do. I mean, we're a proud nation. We are a nation that were very good in ingenuity. Like we had a lot of ingenuity. Like we did design a lot of things. You know what I mean? Yeah. And a lot of Australian design and manufacture at the time was really good. Just unfortunately, it's become too expensive now. Our society's changed, and I mean, I used to go to a lot of exhibitions in my previous job and used to see them. Australian design and manufacture was really respected, but you couldn't compete.
Yeah.
Just too expensive, you know what I mean? You're 3-4 times the price of what a product from Asia would be, even though it's 3 or 4 times better quality. But you try and sell that to the end consumer, it just doesn't happen. Sad, but all the money's
always going to happen. So
it all comes down to dollars and cents, isn't it?
So
yeah. Oh, well, so that's my 2 bits and bobs about Holden. Like I said, a bit sad. I just think what's sad as well is the V8 supercars. It was branded as a Holden versus Ford rival. Yeah. It doesn't exist anymore. Well, it's not going to exist.
Where's that at the moment?
Well, at the moment, they're still racing Commodores. I think they'll caught blindsided as well. I'll wait and see.
So that even won't continue?
Well, there's no Holden, so it can't be Holden versus Ford, can there?
Yeah.
I've
never been into that.
Yeah.
But, obviously, MotoGP and Formula One.
Formula One at the moment. Good old Ricciardo. He seemed all right. He came from day 2 of testing. He didn't do too bad.
Yeah, it'd be good if he can pick up.
Yeah. Come on, Daniel.
So far, it seemed like a misstep moving from where Red Bull to Renault. But at the end of the day, it was always going to be a tough start.
Yeah.
So if they can improve their technology and with new rules coming in, that might give them an advantage and level out the playing field.
Absolutely.
So, I think in terms of talent, he's probably in the top 5.
Oh, 100%. If you look at the Top Gear test track times, he's number 1 on there.
I would love to see him in an equal car with let's say Lewis Hamilton, and just to see who's the better driver.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
I think look, we don't like Lewis Hamilton because
we're Australians, so we don't like Lewis Hamilton,
but we don't like him because he drives a Mercedes, and we're either Daniel or Ferrari.
Yeah, right? Daniel Ferrari, but also because he's from England and Australia and the Ashes. So.
Fair enough.
Come on, Aussie. So we were Daniel the whole way.
But he's also got a bit of that arrogance, I suppose, that puts people off. Whereas, compared to someone like Daniel,
he's a lovable larrikin. Yeah.
Lovable larrikin.
Shoey.
Probably a little bit too much for my liking lately. I think that a lot of, I can't speak for other people, but I think that a lot of people's thoughts on Daniel is rein in the funny guy stuff and get more professional, get your head down. If you want to end your career being a world champion even once, the Joker doesn't win a world championship.
You know what? But
that's what I feel a little bit. Much as I love Daniel as a person and a driver, all right?
I think he's a great. I saw another perspective of Daniel. I can say I listened to another podcast, F1 Beyond the Grid, and they interviewed him. Yeah. Very good podcast, and I got a different perspective of him. You know what I mean? I was like,
he's a great guy, and
the professionalism,
he's got intelligence as well.
The professionalism and the intelligence came out. I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, wow. Yeah.
But what I mean is, every time you see him on TV, he's always joking, and it's like, all right, you're only doing an interview and that type of thing, but compare that to other people, drivers who've won world championships.
Or Senna.
They just seem more serious.
Or you compare it to Senna. Schumacher.
Let's not go to Senna. Love Senna.
It was, they were some of the greatest there. Kimi Räikkönen, he was, very cold.
Räikkönen, no personality whatsoever. So it's somewhere in between.
Mika Häkkinen was an interesting world champion. He was quite a good world champion,
Yeah. I mean, people used to say that Vettel, had no personality, but I think he's shown a lot more personality since he's been to Ferrari.
Yeah.
Flaws as well.
Yes.
Definitely. But
I think
he's copped a bit of the arse end of the stick compared to Leclerc as well.
No, I don't think Seb's.
Well, the perception is that Leclerc is very much favoured over Vettel because Leclerc's the future, right?
Yeah, but in saying that, they're paying Vettel a huge amount of money. So if you're going to pay,
I love Vettel, right? I initially didn't, and even when he moved to Ferrari, I was, I didn't like that because he was the hated foe kind of thing. But he's come to Ferrari. Seems to be embedded in the culture, speaks Italian fluently.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I love that. He's just immersed himself in Ferrari.
Yeah.
So, he's a Ferrari man.
But I don't think he's very resilient, you know what I mean? Like, if things aren't going his way, he just he goes.
I see that.
It's like, he makes rash decisions. Like, man, you can't.
There's a couple of times he's had the long face after, after he's finished the race or not finished the race and felt like he's been shafted or whatever.
It's like, man up, man. You know what I mean?
And I think there was one time, was it Leclerc won the race?
Yeah.
He come and after all the ceremonies and whatever, the podium, he's come out with all the team for the photo, the team photo, and he's just this long look on his face. And as soon as the button was clicked on the camera, he was marching out of there and left everyone else celebrating. It's like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you need to celebrate in your teammate's success as well.
Well, that's what
I know in F1, your teammate is your first enemy.
But still, you drive for the team.
But exactly, you've got to be a team player too. I think he's. Yeah. So as much as I like Vettel, I can criticise him for certain things as well.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to this season. I mean, not too far away. But I'm really looking forward to next season with all the changes hopefully we get a bit of overtaking,
Which is Daniel's forte.
Very good. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to next year. We'll wait and see. I just don't like how, personally, again, throwing off the hip here, but being a car man, I just don't think you could beat the sound of the old V10 motor when I was revving at 17,000. It was incredible.
Well, I remember the first F1 race that I ever went to was in Monza, and I was sitting on the inside of the famous parabola, right, which is at the end of the parabola is the entrance to the pit lane. Right. So I was right at the entrance to the pit lane. And of course, as they're coming in there, they're changing down gear. And that's just an awesome thing. I think it was 80 Ks they got a limit to.
You saw Schumacher won that one, didn't he?
No, he came second, and first was Barrichello.
Oh, Barrichello.
So that was Ferrari first and second.
Was that the V10
and
anyway?
Third was Eddie Irvine.
Yeah.
It was a Formula Ferrari. So it was, in a way, a Ferrari 1, 2, 3, in sentiment anyway for Irvine. Because he was pretty well loved by the fans from what I could.
Yeah, no, they really liked him.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Obviously, to make it, if you could make it slightly better, would have been Schumacher first.
No,
Because, you know,
as long as I mean, that would have been then the crowd.
To be first ever F1 race that I'd gone to,
home of Ferrari.
In the home of Ferrari, as a Ferrari fan,
Yeah, that would have been.
Ferrari comes first and second, and seeing the Tifosi just going nuts on the track as soon as everyone crossed the line, everyone just jumps, mate. Everyone just jumps onto the track like there's no tomorrow. And it was just a flood of Ferrari flags and green, white, red. And it was amazing.
Yeah. That would have been awesome, man.
That was.
I mean, I've been to probably 6 or 7 Grand Prix in my life, but
I'm just trying to remember what year that was. 2003. When did I go to Europe for 6 months? Was it 2002?
2003, one of those years.
I think it was 2002.
Yeah. I went to
2002 Monza race.
I went to the 04 Melbourne GP where Michael won. That was amazing. That was great. And just the sound of those motors. And I went from the sound of the old V10 when then they went to V8, and you could hear the difference in the V8, the V10 to V8. The V10 just sounded absolutely incredible. The V8 sounded good. I can't believe I'm saying that because I'm a V8 member.
Is that the one that sounds like a whippersnipper?
No, then that was the new one, which is the V6 turbo. That was horrible.
Done anything to
they tried to make it sound a bit better, but I heard it the first time and I thought, what is that? You know, I do remember when the very first Grand Prix I went to, when I bought my ticket, they gave me a set of earplugs.
Oh, yeah, they always do that.
Yeah, but not anymore. We don't need earplugs anymore. No. It just doesn't have that.
No, but even when I went, I didn't use the earplugs.
Yeah, no, I love it.
And I was at probably one of the loudest points of the track.
Yeah.
But I was loving it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It was ringing in my ears for, a day or two later, but that was all part of it.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
But yeah, no, it was pretty good.
So what we should do, I think, is if we're going to, maybe during the season, get a good friend, Johnny, who's a Formula One and MotoGP nut, far more than we are.
Yeah, he definitely loves the...
So he could probably, we have a good chat about those things.
He definitely loves these. Actually, I think he's more MotoGP at the moment. So
I haven't followed the testing that's been going on.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit like, even with AFL, I don't get into it until this season.
I'm looking forward to
AFL. I couldn't care less about it.
I'm looking forward to it, actually. It'll be an interesting season, I think.
I just never get into the pre-season.
Yeah.
And even before I was a member, I was a member, but even before I had a seat, it would take me a couple weeks to get into the AFL season.
Yeah.
Well, obviously soccer being my first love, footy is a bit behind that in my pecking order. But now that I'm at every Eagles game, the last 2 seasons, definitely more interested from day one.
Absolutely,
from round one. But still pre-season's like, whatever. I'll read the odd headline, the odd quick report, see the odd footage, but I'm just not that fast. I'm too busy.
Actually, what are your thoughts on the All-Star game or the Bushfire Relief game?
Victoria against All-Stars. It's not State of Origin.
Well, it's not State.
It's half State of Origin.
No, it is. It's a Bushfire appeal.
That's fine. Raise money for that.
It's not State of Origin.
That's important, but don't sell it as State of Origin. You want State of Origin? Do WA versus Victoria, WA versus South Australia, Victoria against South Australia, right? Do it properly. And didn't last time they did State of Origin, they had the Allies.
Yeah.
Was that New South Wales and Queensland? Even that was a waste. Yeah. No one was really interested in that. I don't know. I'd like to see State of Origin come back because I remember we were kids probably last time they did it properly.
Actually went to, believe it or not, State of Origin game for Servo.
We did, didn't we?
Yes. That was West Australia versus South Australia.
That was during school time.
That was during school time.
Why were they playing it
I have no idea.
School afternoon?
I have no idea. But WA did get smashed by
South Australia.
There we go.
But that was not Origin. That was just state. So that was like Waffle versus SANFL. Right? So you could have been a Victorian playing for WA.
Yeah.
So it was just league versus league.
Yeah.
But still.
It was good fun. Yeah. But I think the All-Stars have a fantastic team. Absolutely brilliant.
To be honest, I have not even looked who's playing for us.
The lineups are amazing, man. You know, if this was an actual game where the boys would put their body on the line and went full crack,
but they'd be mad.
Full pelt. If they went full pelt
for either side. But then again, look, AFL was worth a heap more money than it ever was now. Okay, so these clubs don't want state of origin, even state of origin proper. They don't want that.
You can't blame them, right?
Because of the risk of injury.
Absolutely.
Right? Someone does a knee and they're out for the rest of the season. Yeah. That could mean a premiership goes out the window.
I agree, 100%. You can't blame the teams for not, or the clubs for not wanting their superstar players to go. Yeah, but a part of the players, I'm sure.
It's just like if you compare it with international soccer, right? Clubs often want to hold back their players. I mean, I'm not sure how much that kind of happens in Europe, but it's happened in the past. Clubs want to hold back their players from playing for the Socceroos.
Socceroos, heaps times, yeah.
Because they don't.
How many times Aaron Moy?
They don't want the Socceroos to go and play these dinky games against the Solomon Islands.
Yeah, they don't want Aaron Moy to go play Solomon Islands, no. Of course not. You know what I mean? But it actually looks like a cracker lineup. Actually, looks like
who are some of the players that are in?
The big V's got obviously Dustin Martin in the middle.
Who's the captain of it?
I'm not sure who the captain. I think Fife's the captain of the All Stars team.
Well, you'd hope so, being named All Australian. But
Jewel Brownlow captain as well.
All Australian captain, wasn't he?
Yeah. But
sorry, Shannon.
But you think about it, that's a pretty lethal midfield. You know what I mean? You got Brody Grundy tapping down to 5. Yeah. And you got other players in that middle. You got Cripps, Yo. So it's not a bad, not a bad little lineup. You know what I mean? It'll be pretty. I mean, the Victorians got a good lineup too.
Any Eagles players playing for Victoria?
No, which is I think Shuey got a bit.
Shuey didn't get even picked.
No,
or Gaff.
No, he didn't. The only 2 players was Shepherd and Yo.
The only Eagles players in the All-Stars team.
Yeah, that's it.
Or maybe there were others, but they held them back.
Well, I think they had a few. I'm just trying to pull up the team list.
Where and when is the game? Because
I think it's next week, I believe. Yeah, it's next week against there's the Bushra Relief game next week.
MCG?
MCG. No, I think it's at Marvel. Okay. On Marvel Stadium. Let's just try and pull up the teams. But, it was just the All-Stars team looked pretty awesome.
Okay. But, look, at the end of the day, obviously it's Mickey Mouse state of origin, you could call it, but it could lead to proper... You never know, it might.
It might.
If the fans love it and it takes off and there's a demand for it. Mm. And it's probably driven a lot by players too. Right?
Yeah, no, I mean...
Like if players start talking it up, that might, dominoes might start falling there and it might lead to things. But because back in the day, the state of origin meant something to players.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't seem so there anymore.
It was funny in the midfield of the All-Stars team, you got Lockie Neal, 5, and Bradley Hill. Yeah. Imagine that's a pretty good midfield. No ex-Dockers or 2 ex-Dockers.
Our favourite team.
Yeah. But
should we not go out there about our love for the Dockers?
Oh, yeah.
No. So we'll probably wipe out half of the audience.
Actually, potentially insane that I watched the Dockers. Went to the Eagles West Coast Dockers AFLW game on the weekend.
Did you go to that?
Yeah, I went to show my support to the team, for the girls. I thought I'd take my daughter.
Yeah.
Was it good? Try and inspire her a bit, maybe she wants to play.
The Eagles got wiped. But
you could see.
That was coming.
That was coming. I mean, you could see the difference in the 2 teams. You could see that the Dockers were a far better skilled team, drilled team. You could see they had 4 years of experience.
4 years, is it?
Yeah, it's been about 4 years of experience.
At the end of the day,
you could see it. You know what I mean?
Right. Obviously.
No, you could see they were made like miles ahead, It's just, I think it's still got a fair whack to go to the AFLW, but you eventually get there, I think the girls just need their fitness. Once their fitness, like I think they just get gassed a bit early.
I think it's good to have it, and
I think it's awesome.
What they should be doing is having the competition, the games scheduled as curtain raisers to AFL games to get more people there. Are they doing that?
No, well, I think they just want to run it as their own competition.
Or is the whole competition going to finish before the AFL
finish before
starts?
Before the AFL starts.
All right.
Well,
maybe once it gets more professional. At the moment, it's more like amateur or semi-professional.
It's semi-professional, I think. But I took my daughter because I thought I really want her to see And probably, if she likes the game, maybe I'd put her.
Would you want her playing?
Oh, I'd love for her to play AFL. It was awesome.
What about playing soccer? Sam Kerr, mate. Come on.
Sam Kerr, she's just a superstar, you know what I mean? Did she end up winning the Sports Star of the Year? I don't know.
I've lost track of all these awards.
She should have, if not, she should have won it anyway.
Matter. I mean,
she's an absolute legend.
In terms of women's sport in Australia,
she's the beacon.
And Ash Barty.
Oh, Ash Barty, yeah.
Can't knock her, mate. It's awesome.
And Elise Perry, the cricketer. Yeah, she's good too. Yeah.
Actually, Elise Perry could have been alongside Sam Kerr in the Matildas. She chose cricket.
She chose cricket, yeah. She was a really good player. But I think she probably made the right decision.
Well, at the end of the day, make the decision of the one that's you're going to be best at.
The best at, I think she'll have longevity in cricket. I think longevity in cricket is a lot more than what soccer.
Well, I suppose with soccer, I mean, just a small run of bad form and you can be out of the team and maybe not get yourself back into the team. But with cricket, you can not so much cover your bad form, but
you got more chances to.
You get more chances to come back. I mean, if you look at David Warner.
Well, personally, I think I don't think he deserved the.
Well, I think everyone knows that. What do they have a point system?
It's a point system, but it's based on all three formats of the game, and the tests are weighted more and stuff like that. But again. Look, don't get me wrong. He had a fantastic summer in Australia. He did. You can't knock it.
Who did he play against?
Yes, but he still scored runs. You can't.
Everyone else played against them too. All right,
he scored runs. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry,
but unfortunately, my thing was in the games that mattered, e.g., the Ashes. The games that I actually got up and watched. And stayed up to.
Who's voting on these things? Is there a committee that votes?
Yeah, there's a few. I'm not 100% sure on the whole, but there's Justin Lang was one of the guys that voted.
Hang on a second. Justin Langer,
apparently,
the head coach of the Australian,
but they just didn't know
has a vote.
There's a whole heap of people that vote. You know what I mean? So they put for the game.
I don't think you should be the head coach and having a vote on your own team. Play on your own team. There's a bias element that comes into it. Surely, even if he can be neutral, just the perception of being biased is still there.
Yeah. I don't think it was a good look for. I mean, yes, he redeemed himself and all that. I don't think it was a good look for.
How did he redeem himself?
Well, that's what he supposedly.
What's he done to redeem himself?
Oh, scored 300.
Am I just too overly critical? But I'm sorry, you don't. All right. I never liked David Warner from when he probably started playing Test cricket. Okay. Go back to punching Joe Root.
Yeah.
Over in a previous Ashes tour. Was that in Australia or over there? I think it was over there. I think it was in England.
Yeah.
Right. From then on, he was in my bad books. But then it's just all the chirp on the pitch.
Yeah.
It's just, sorry, it's just, obviously instigated this, what do they call it? Sandpaper gate.
Oh, sandpaper gate, yeah.
Right, in South Africa.
Yeah.
And, compared to Steve Smith and Cameron Bancroft, who were, I don't know, his let's say confession and apology just didn't seem as contrite and genuine.
Yeah.
Remember in Warner's press conference when he was saying he's sorry, he was being asked questions and he would just give a rote response each time, a robotic response.
Generic.
And I'm sorry, you lost the public when you did that.
Yeah.
So, whereas Steve Smith, okay, you're the captain, you should have taken control of the situation. You saw that he was human.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Saw that he was human and he just didn't handle the situation, and you can't condemn a person forever. And that even goes with Davey Warner. You can't condemn him forever for stuffing up. You obviously haven't learned your lesson. They're never going to do something like
never
that
again. No way.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just too historically harsh on David Warner.
Your dislike for him probably extends from when he punched her.
Maybe he's just got that white line fever, and off the track, he's the nicest guy out there.
I just find it frustrating. Like, such a good player, and the big games where you really got to. Like that Ashes series was a prime example. He had 5 innings in that game.
95 in 10 innings.
10 innings, an average of 9.5, and you're the opening batsman. It's like, these are the games that you're supposed to.
Look, obviously,
if that was another batsman just coming off that test, those scores, they would not be opening for Australia again.
Poms and especially Broad just got in his head, and he didn't have a way to pull himself out of it.
But regardless, if that was another player, okay, if that was Joe Burn, would if he had the opportunity to hit 10 innings and get an average of 9?
He wouldn't have lasted the series, let alone still being in the team for the next series back home. Right, that's for sure. I mean, Joe Burns, the last series, did he get dropped? Who was it?
Yeah, I think he got, not last series, he did all 4. He played all 4. Was it Matt Renshaw was another one? He would have got dropped. If he was
someone who... Well, Bancroft. Bancroft is a good example, okay? Because at the Ashes, he lasted the first 2
and then he got dropped.
Tests, failed and got dropped. Whereas Warner was failing worse and still played another 3 test matches.
Correct.
All right, and that's just purely on who you are, not your performance. And that's, I just don't agree with that.
Dave Warner,
all right? He was just given far too much leeway and,
well.
But what I'm looking forward to is, have you got Amazon Prime?
No, I haven't.
Or Amazon Video, whatever it's called.
No.
Okay. There's the Test documentary series.
Oh yeah.
So it's documents. I think it's starting from the Ashes tour, going through the Australian summer, just finished. Like inside look of the Australian team, and the clips that I've seen looks
it is pretty good actually,
really interesting. The part about when in the Ashes when Steve Smith was facing Jofra
Archer, Jofra Archer,
when he was getting pummeled basically and bounces left, right, and centre, and when he went down, the clip that I saw was really so intense. Like came in obviously when he copped it in the head, and then went back out.
Yeah.
Probably, still concussed and still went back out, but he got, I don't think he added to his telling.
He didn't get much
because he just went out angry and started slogging and he got caught.
Yeah.
But then when he comes back into the room, he was just livid. He was like, he threw his teammates clapped him.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty bloody gutsy to go back out there after what he just faced. And his teammates clapped him when he got out, and he just throws his bat down and he sits on the bench, and he looks like he's just furious with himself, but also that like he's just going to burst into tears. I don't think he did, but he was just it's so intense.
It was a good series. The Ashes, I quite enjoyed watching that. I actually don't mind Test cricket. Quite a lot more Test cricket.
I love Test cricket pretty much, and that's it. I'm not fussed about 2020, especially at international level. Yeah, I don't think I've watched one in years.
Yeah, I do like the Big Bash series.
I don't mind the Big Bash. I didn't watch a lot of. Is it finished?
Yeah, it's finished. Yeah.
Who won it?
Team from Sydney. They came second.
Okay, I watched bits and pieces of the Scorchers.
Yeah,
I didn't go to a game this season. I think last season I went to one. But yeah, I just couldn't really get into it. But give me 5 days of a test, and not that I've got the time to watch 5 days worth these days, but I could lay on the couch and watch a day of cricket easily.
You're just me, Esky in a 6-pack, mate. All right.
It's just good mate of ours who has always said that test match cricket is like novel unfolding. It is.
Yes, it is. I actually prefer to watch out my side field as opposed to bat. I like watching them.
No, I like both.
I'd rather watch them bat, field. I think that's more bit tactical,
What else we got here, Mel?
There's lots of topics to talk about. Heaps of topics to talk about.
What's happening in the world of the real football?
The real football? Well, Champions League. Liverpool suffered their first loss in a while, haven't they? Against Leipzig.
That's right.
Last week. Atalanta come out of nowhere.
Atalanta, the great Italian minnows from Bergamo.
What a team
that
I was actually reading a story about that. They're still comparing to Leicester. I think.
I didn't see that, but I've thought that. Not that they're going to win the league, but I would love to see them win the league. That would be amazing.
No.
I'd love to see them go deep in the Champions League.
I'd love to see them go deep in the Champions League.
Imagine that. I think they're through to They're 4-1 up against Valencia.
Yeah.
After a 4-1 win at home. I can't see them losing 3-0 away and going out in away goals because they'll probably score a goal.
Yeah.
Way. They just go out all out attack.
Yeah, all out attack.
So that's part of their problem. But then again, that's what Champions League needs. Right? Champions League is a different animal to any other league, right? Whether it's the English Premier League or whether it's Serie A, where you're playing for points over, 34 games or whatever it is. You can contain and defend and sneak wins, whereas the champions sneak points over time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Champions League football, it's end-to-end stuff, basically.
100%.
Right? Tactics and defense is more out the window. It's just end-to-end. It's pretty much who scores most wins, obviously. But, it's not so much about stopping the other team scoring. It's about you just make sure you go and score more.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way it's unfolded in the Champions League in probably over the last 5 or more years.
Well, then there was a PSG losing to Dortmund with probably one of the absolute cracker goal by Holden, his second goal.
Yeah, he just smashed that top corner.
My God, you feel the ferocity of that shot.
Yeah.
Keeper had no chance. It was a great shot at goal. That was an amazing shot. Unfortunately, just all the times for us who live in WA is wrong. You got to get up in the middle of the night to watch all these games.
You can't get up at 3 a.m. or 3 a.m. these days.
Yeah, and get up at 3 a.m.
But hang on, you've got it on Optus Sport. You got Optus Sport at home?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so you can pretty much replay the game as soon as it's finished anyway, so you don't have to get up at the exact time. You can watch it as if it's live.
You got to watch it live.
Watch it before work. Start at 6:30, 7 o'clock, and by the time you finished your coffee and your Weet-Bix.
You got to watch it live. I can't handle it. You got to watch the game live.
Because you got to check the results.
You got to check the results straight on Google.
I know.
I mean, my phone's got the cards that come up straight away. So as soon as I wake up, look at my phone, boom, it tells me the score.
Oh, you get automatic notifications. Nah, switch those off.
So
you know what I've got automatic notifications for soccer games? Is just the Matildas.
Yeah.
I don't know why, only the Matildas, but I see, on the app that I use.
It's because Sam's Kerr name comes up every game. Sam Kerr.
Yeah, I don't think even the Socceroos are in there but, I'm a Roma fan. I don't even have Roma because, if I want to watch the game, I don't want to, if I want to watch it delayed, I don't want the notifications on my phone.
Yeah. I've got pretty much all of them. Actually, I've been getting into a bit of NBA lately since old Kobe thing. It's really sparked. It's actually sparked my interest, believe it or not, I say it is, back in NBA.
I've never been an NBA follower.
I watched the All-Star game the other day.
They make a big thing of this All-Star stuff over there, don't they?
Yeah.
Good on them, but it's amazing. There's so many events around it too. It's not just a game. It's the slam dunk event, the 3 points, there's a celebrity version of it, I think.
Yeah.
Did you see, I saw it on YouTube, so I'm pretty sure it was from this year's, Kevin Hart, the comedian.
Yeah.
He beat someone. Who was the player? I don't know. I'm not good with the NBA players. But he beat someone in a 3-point competition.
Yeah.
11-10, I think the score was. Because you got to shoot. Have you seen how they do it?
Yeah, you got to shoot.
You got to go around from different positions and you've got a certain amount of time. And on the buzzer, he beat him. He pipped him. It was awesome.
The slam dunk competition was interesting when Aaron Gordon. You ever heard of Aaron Gordon? Yeah. He's probably registered the most 50-point perfect scores in slam dunk competition, and he didn't even win. He did a slam dunk of a bloke who's 7'6".
Yeah,
and he still didn't win the slam dunk competition. Everyone's like, "What?" The winner was a guy called Derrick Jones Jr. Who did it. Don't get me wrong, his slam dunk was pretty. He plays for Miami Heat.
So how do they judge this slam dunk competition? Is it based on style?
Style, technique. You got 5 judges.
Okay.
One of the judges was Dwayne Wade, ex-NBA star. Scottie Pippen was another judge. So they get 4 or 5 of them there to judge.
All right.
6 of them.
Talking about NBA, Kobe Bryant.
Now, superstar he was, huh?
Listen, I have never followed the NBA, right? I'll watch snippets on Twitter that, the boys might send around, buzzer beater shots, stuff like that, little clips on YouTube here and there. It interests me who wins the championship. I always look, but I'll never watch a full game, right? I'm just not really into basketball, and that goes for even the Wildcats here, right? But when the story around Kobe Bryant came out, obviously you know who Kobe Bryant is, and he's up there in terms of one of the greatest of all time. You knew that before, even if you didn't follow. You should have known that. Mate, that stunned me for a week.
No, it was pretty.
Why is that? Why? And I've been racking my brains as to why I was involved in that story.
So I was involved. It's probably because of his with his
exactly.
daughter.
Being a parent.
Being a parent with his daughter.
Watching clips of his daughter.
And she was good.
She was good. She was a little star.
Yeah. And he just had another baby.
I felt cut up for at times
he
watching.
He became a father
clips,
again not long ago. So he's got another little girl.
6 months old.
Yeah, 6 months old. So it's I think compound all these things. And it's like it's tragic, And
I watched on his wife's Instagram. She went along. She must have gone along to a commemoration for her daughter, for Gianna, at the school. At her school, they did like a little ceremony. They retired her school jersey, right? And and teachers were telling stories about her. This was no just average student, average girl.
Yeah,
she was unbelievable. She was just such a conscientious girl, conscientious person, and just everyone loved her. It was incredible to watch.
Mm.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, Connor, a father, and have a daughter. My daughter's 7, so Connor, touched the.
Oh yeah, I was definitely more affected by the fact that she was gone more so than Kobe, because like I said, I hadn't watched his career. I just knew a bit about him, and then I'll like I said, I'd be at work, but I'd have YouTube playing with clips of him. Mate, his last ever NBA game
was classic.
60 points. Right?
Classic.
Now that season, what season was that? Was it 2016? 15 or 16,
yeah.
Right? They won 17 games for the whole season, right? So way out of contention for playoffs. They were pretty crap for his last few years, I think, the LA Lakers. But he pulled this game for the ages. It was unbelievable. I watched, I think, like the last 10 minutes of the game. He took so many 3-point shots he couldn't miss.
It was a Kobe show.
It was the Kobe show. And I think in the last quarter of the match, he outscored, I think it was Utah Jazz they were playing. He outscored them. Amazing.
Yes, because it was actually a really good player.
Amazing. What a way to go out.
And he was a one club player, which is very rare in NBA these days. I mean,
20 years?
Yeah, it's close to 20 years. Yeah. Well, he's nearly the same age as us. Actually, he's the same age as us. So
40, 41, wasn't he?
Yeah. So, but he was a one club player. I mean, some of the greats in there. I mean, Michael Jordan wasn't a one club player. He played for 2 clubs. He played for Chicago.
Well, when he came back from baseball, he played for Washington.
No. He played for Bulls, then he went to baseball, then back to the Bulls.
There you go, back to the Bulls.
Yeah, then he went to Washington.
Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
There's a documentary about, I think it's an ESPN 30 for 30, about Michael Jordan going to play baseball. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't actually.
I'm not sure if you can find it.
Actually, I got to admit, those 30 for 30 documentaries are brilliant.
They are brilliant. The best one is probably the two Escobars.
Yeah, that was really good too.
That's quite a long one. And it's
I actually enjoyed the one about the Yankee Stadium. They were talking about the demolition.
The house that Steinbrenner. Yeah, that's a good one.
That was a good one. Really good.
Being a Yankees fan.
Yeah. And actually been to Yankee Stadium. That was,
you've
was
been
awesome.
there, you bugger.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it was
one day
awesome.
I'll get there.
I'd recommend that.
But yeah, the Michael Jordan one about playing baseball. Now, let me just quickly search Michael Jordan 30 for 30. I can't remember the title of it. 30 for 30 trailer. It's a good documentary, basically. So he pretty much, if I remember right, he grew up being a mad baseball fan.
Yeah.
And I think his father was too. And just always had a dream of playing baseball, but he was far better at basketball. So obviously he becomes the greatest basketball player ever. But yeah, he thought, well, I've done everything I want to do in basketball. I'm going to go try it in baseball.
Oh, he tried.
He never got to the
he got to the minors, I think. Did he make it in the minors league?
Yeah.
But he'll be more of a draw card anyway in the minor league.
I don't know. Here we go. Michael Jordan and Chicago Bulls, The Last Dance. That's from this year. There's a TV series.
Yeah? Oh, jeez.
There's an upcoming sports documentary miniseries about the Chicago Bulls. Well, this looks awesome. Wasn't what I was actually looking for, but...
Just keep it.
The Last Dance is an upcoming sports documentary miniseries about the Chicago Bulls of the NBA and their 97-98 season. 10-part miniseries was announced by ESPN in 2018 with an official trailer released on December 24, 2019. When's it going to be released? It'll be awesome. It's going to be on Netflix, I think.
On Netflix?
Yeah, production Netflix. Awesome. That'll be good.
Gotta love Netflix, eh? Speaking of Netflix, have you seen The Irishman?
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's change that from sport to film. The Irishman. Okay, how pumped up was this film? Right?
Yeah.
They pumped up this film. It's up there with
Goodfellas Casino.
Goodfellas Casino, right? It took me a while to get around to sit down and watch it because I knew it was going to be a 3-hour film. Okay, it took me 3 nights to get through it because I fell asleep twice each time.
Yeah.
Each night. That's how bad it was.
Yeah?
I was bored shitless.
Really?
I'm sorry. No. Have you watched it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. No,
right. Well, I've ruined it for you.
But again, mixed reviews. Some blokes say it's amazing, but everyone said
they're welcome to it, but I don't ever.
Everyone I've spoken to said it's really good. Like everyone I've spoken to said it's really good, but long.
It just seems pointless.
And someone else said they fell asleep for it as well. So,
there you go. I mean, these days I fall asleep at the drop of a hat watching TV at night. Yeah. Almost 3-4 times a week I do that. But no, I just didn't like it at all.
Yeah, everyone didn't win any Oscars, did it? I don't think it did. Got nominated for a few.
It didn't win anything?
I don't think so.
Well, so it shouldn't.
But it got nominated for a few. Well, Joe Pesci would have played a good role. Always does.
And then after the film finishes on Netflix, then it goes automatically into this conversation with Scorsese, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, and De Niro, right? They're sitting around a table, like in a restaurant, just talking about the film and how they filmed it. Oh my God, if the film wasn't enough to put you to sleep, listening to these guys crap on about the film and about other rubbish is just even worse. Seriously. I don't know. I don't know. I've always loved them, but
it's interesting. Different perspective.
You've got to watch it and then tell me what you think.
Yeah.
You might tell me, no, it was great. You loved it.
Yeah.
Well, no, I couldn't get it.
Yeah. I really want to watch it, but I need, like you said, I need 3.5 hours to watch it.
No, sorry. Not that.
Good old, any other good movies coming up?
I watched The Joker. Not The Joker, Joker.
Joker. No, I haven't seen that, no. Everyone reckons it is brilliant.
Joaquin Phoenix. Oh, fuck, what an actor! I know he's a bit of a nut job, but what an actor! And that's probably why he's such a good actor.
True, it's a fine line. What was his performance compared to
Heath Ledger?
Heath Ledger's.
Look, if you want to say who's first, who's second, I think probably Heath Ledger was a touch better. But they just have a different spin on it,
Heath Ledger, that was brilliant.
Both amazing. But and Joaquin Phoenix, probably everyone's would agree that Heath Ledger was the better one. But yeah, Phoenix was bloody good too. Yeah.
He's a pretty good actor.
However, you haven't seen it.
No.
Pretty violent, right? And De Niro's in it. He plays a talk show host. Okay. So, spoiler alert, everyone. Do you want me to spoil it for you?
That doesn't bother me.
All right. I'm not going to spoil the whole plot, but at one point he goes on this talk show as the Joker, right? And De Niro is the host. And he's a bit of an arrogant host, whatever. And So the Joker gets out a gun and shoots him square in the head. Just shoots him dead on live TV, right? Mate, and the first thought I had was, I don't know if this could ever happen in real life. Well, firstly, do they ever go directly live to TV? They're probably pre-recorded. But bloody hell, what kind of ideas are you putting in people's heads? That's what I first thought. I mean, maybe that's been a wowzer, but man, it was a shock, that scene. But yeah, amazing performance.
Actually, I did on the holidays. I watched the movie The Gentleman with Matthew McConaughey.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen this.
Really good movie. Highly recommend it.
What, at the film?
At the cinema. Yeah, that was good. Highly recommend it. I found that. It was. I think it was directed by Madonna's ex-husband. What was his name?
Guy Ritchie. Yeah.
Locks it up. Yeah, I think it was a really good movie. So if you're into that,
my list is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, Tarantino.
I still haven't seen that, but I've got that.
I want to see that one, The Traitor, with the Sicilian mafia story.
Oh yeah,
no, that looks interesting.
About what's it?
Marcel Busquetta, the first mafia turncoat.
Pentito.
Mm-hmm. That looks interesting. It looks like an interesting movie.
Yeah. That scene where they blow up Falcone.
Yeah, that was pretty.
On the highway.
Scary.
That in the trailer, that's unbelievable.
Mm.
Yeah, and then actually, after you told me about that, and I watched that trailer, and then I did like a Google search and Google Maps search of where they blew Falcone up. Where was that? 92? 92?
Yeah.
1992. Man, there's a big monument on both sides of the highway there, or freeway, whatever it is. Big monument with his name and all the other names. And there's houses right there.
Jeez.
Imagine living at that spot.
They were blown up, and I'm surprised they weren't blown up.
Man, that was a massive bomb. There was a huge crater. You seen the pictures?
Yeah, it's pretty. They did a good job.
Anyone listening to this is probably wondering what the hell we're talking about. So we're talking about the Sicilian. Was he Sicilian?
Yeah, Sicilian, yeah.
Prosecutor Giovanni Falcone, who was putting mafia bosses away like there was no tomorrow.
In the late 80s and 90s.
Late 80s, yeah, exactly. Late 80s and early 90s. And he ran the big Maxi trial, didn't he?
Correct.
Right? Yeah. Which put hundreds of mafiosi in jail in Sicily, in Palermo. And obviously the mafia had it out for him and they got him.
Yeah, they got him, right?
And months later got his main partner, Borsellino in Palermo itself, in the city.
Oh.
But yeah, there are houses like right there, like across the, you've got the railing of the
right there,
the freeway, but then off the verge,
there's
houses right there. Imagine living there, because that's like a shrine now. Okay, people would be tourists would going there. If I ever had to go back there and have the time, I'd maybe go there and have a look at it. It's outside people's homes. It's unbelievable. Yeah, but where was I going with that?
We're just talking about movies. Interesting movies coming up that we want to see.
Yeah.
But they're Netflix, but they have the actually, speaking of the Busquetta, they got a documentary on him, Our Godfather, on Netflix.
Yeah, I told you about that.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
That was pretty good. Interesting. Yeah.
All right, where else can we go with this?
Oh.
What do we want to touch on things we were talking about before we started recording?
Well, we'll probably be here for another 2 hours, I reckon.
Yeah, well, it's a podcast. We can go as long as we want. People can switch off whenever they want. The situation in Queensland.
Well, tragic is an understatement.
Unbelievable. Huh?
Unbelievable. I wouldn't even call him a human personally.
Calling him a man.
No, definitely. It's
unbelievable. So obviously this guy has, his wife has left him, 3 kids involved. He's got a violence restraining order on him. He's come after the wife jumped into her car with 3 kids in the back and set everyone on fire and killed them. And then stabbed himself and killed himself.
Yeah.
What do you do about something like this?
I don't know where to start. I don't know what sick person. I didn't call him a person. I don't know.
Okay, go back a step. He's before the end of December, I think it was Boxing Day, if I remember the story correctly, taken off with one of the daughters and driven to Victoria, and he's kidnapped her, basically. Kidnapped the daughter for 4 days, right? And I think then brought her back, but effectively he's kidnapped this kid, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't get jail time?
I'm not sure. Well, technically, was he legal guardian as well? So could he be?
That should be treated as kidnap, as if you're not the parent, okay, in that situation. So you should get years for that act. And if that was the case, I think he got bailed, right? And if that judge isn't bloody, hanging his head in shame, he should be. Seriously, for that act, you should be jailed for, 5 years minimum.
Yeah,
it's kidnap.
I just can't.
The woman's family was on Current Affair last night telling the story of what happened. Man, this kid was terrified, right? He grabbed her from a park where they were, doing a proper meeting, playing, come to meet the kids, whatever, because they were separated. Comes time for the wife to leave and, put the kids in the car. This guy's picked up one of the kids as if he's going to put her in the car as well, in the wife's car, then done an about turn and ran to his car holding one of his daughters. The wife's running, screaming after him, where are you going with her, whatever, right? Towing the 2 other kids behind, throws the daughter in the front seat and drives away, yelling, see this, you did this to the wife. And that's it. And amazing. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's disgusting.
And you're going to get locked up for a good time for that? Seriously.
I don't know.
And then this tragedy, happens
the tragedy,
a couple months later.
To say it's probably one of the most tragic circumstances that you've read about is, I don't know, I can't even, I'm lost for words.
You can't even process it, man.
It's just,
how are you a parent? How are you a parent? And all right, listen, you're wanting to end it for yourself. How can you fathom taking your kids with you? You don't want your kids to grow up and have a life? I just can't.
It doesn't come. I can't even. I'm still struggling to process. It's just words. I can't describe them.
It's almost like you wish he didn't die. So
I wish he didn't die, so he could have ended up spending his time in general population in prison, because I'm sure those boys would have done a good job to fix him up.
Yeah,
that's all I would. Honestly, that's what I hope.
At the end of the day, the world's better off without him.
100%.
Without him breeding.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah,
unbelievable. That's it. The whole family just wiped out.
Sick. It's just disgusting.
You can't fathom it.
No, it's just there's a lot of answers now. You know what I mean? Whose fault? What fault? What should have been done? How could they have prevented it?
What do you do?
Should he have got help before? There's just a
GPS tracker on his ankle if he's going to be not in jail from the kidnap. I don't know.
No, well, I think he had a violence order on him.
He had a VRO or whatever it's called.
AVO over there.
AVO.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, that's just a piece of paper, right? If someone's got it in them, they're determined to do something.
Yeah, each state
they're gonna just go and do it.
It's because that's a state run. Each state's different, I mean, you can expect.
But what I mean is, that can't stop someone taking whatever actions they want to be taking. No. The fact that the police can't be watching him 24/7.
No, they can't be. But if he breaks it, then he goes.
So this woman's got to live her life in fear, which she was, until he eventually just finally snaps once and for all, and that's it. Finished. Unbelievable.
Sad. So it's wrong,
and then you get dickheads like that Bettina aunt who
let it go. Not the time, nor the place.
Shut up.
Just not the time, nor the place.
Just shut up. You might have your points to make. Wait. Let the smoke clear. And she's defending this cop who was leading the investigation.
For
what he said, look, he misspoke. All right, I think, but I don't think he had anything nasty or vicious with what he was trying to say.
I was actually listening to the news this morning, and there was a guy talking about that particular cop.
Yeah,
and he goes,
apparently he's a wreck.
Yeah, but they said, have you actually read his whole transcript? And everyone's going, no. He goes, this is media again.
Yeah,
in the words of Donald Trump, fake news. You know what I mean? They're going, you just cut the snippet out to show the point. He goes, if he's read the whole transcript, he's going to get a different interpretation of what the guy said.
Okay.
So up until this, I was like, you idiot. But the thing is, I haven't read the transcript, so I'm curious to read what he actually said. What the actual cop said.
Is it the police commissioner in Queensland has thrown him under the bus?
No. He actually announced himself, apparently, that
his decision to step down, was it?
His decision to step off the case.
Step off. That's what I mean.
Yeah, step off the case. He goes, I think it'll be better now because of what I'm thinking.
Okay. Well, I think whether his words were taken the wrong way or not, I think he probably had to step off the case anyway, just to get the focus off him.
That's what he said. He goes, this is not about me.
Yeah,
which is a shame because he might have been a good police officer. We don't know.
Yeah.
He might have been really good at his job. And you do want the best people on the job to take care of that.
Yeah, exactly. So he was making a call for people to come forward if they know any information about what this guy's motives might have been, what his state of mind might have been, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he said the words, if he might, something along the lines of if he might have been driven to it, all right, which was taken to imply that his ex-wife, the wife that he separated from, might have driven him to it, which, from all accounts, there's no question of that. But
he might say it might have been drugs, it might have been,
but even, I suppose, driven to it by his own messed up state of mind.
Yeah, correct.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so I didn't take it as, his wife was tormenting him or potentially tormenting him. I don't think that. And from what everyone close to her has said, there's absolutely no question of that. Like, she seemed as normal as can be, and she was just basically tormented by him and emotionally abused since day one, since pretty much they got together.
Yeah.
Right, and manipulated by him.
And sick bastard. And nobody else don't like a couple of things. One thing, the media call him an NRL player. He played.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, he played one game in a practice match.
Is that he never actually played a game?
I don't think he actually even played a game. I was like, come on.
All right, but I think that headline, whoever it was, it kind of came out before facts were known.
Yeah,
well,
I know,
right. But so. Look, at the end of the day, media's trying to get eyeballs, right?
Yeah,
I don't think they needed to push too hard to get eyeballs.
But it's never what they've done is thrown NRL players.
But even I saw a clip on Twitter on Studio 10. Joe Hildebrand.
Yeah.
I think I like listening to Joe Hildebrand. He's a good voice of reason most of the time, I think. And he even said, look, don't take too much into account with that particular headline because it was pretty much straight away when facts weren't known, kind of thing. So, all right, maybe it shouldn't have been said.
It shouldn't have been said. NRL's got enough of their domestic problems. I don't
think that they were really trying to pump him up as, the good bloke, narrative. That hasn't been.
And then the media shows home footage of him with the kids and happy.
He was bloody rough with those kids.
Hey, but jumping.
I love roughhousing with kids, right? And I throw them around, but safely, you know what I mean? Like, he was pushing them over.
But
and putting the baby in a headlock.
But
his baby looked like it was 1 year old or something. He was putting the baby in a headlock.
But I look at this, so don't even put that in there. That didn't need to be in there.
What, they shouldn't have shown that footage?
No, they shouldn't have shown the footage. He's a subhuman person. Just have a photo of his face and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't make it he's not human, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're putting human context. No, It's like, I don't know. But anyway.
But, not too much, but, when the car's on fire and he gets out of the car, and firstly, he doesn't even have the fucking balls to burn in the car himself. Right? But he gets out of the car and neighbours come in to help to try and get these kids out or, get the hose on her and the car. And he's telling them to go away and stop helping. So even when it's happening, nothing clicks in his head to say, shit, what have I done?
Right? Yeah,
I don't want these kids gone. No, he's happy the whole way through, wants the kids gone. That's unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
That's when you know it's premeditated.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Absolute evil. Absolute evil.
He's evil personified, man. He's disgusting, man. Now, speaking of the media there, I think I've got to say about the media sometimes I find very frustrating. I don't know what your opinion is on this, but I went to the game, like saying before the Eagles-Dockers game, and there was the vegan protester who jumped.
Oh, that's right.
Jumped the fence, right?
They gave her a bit of airtime, didn't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then my point is, why?
Yeah.
Why on God's earth did you give her airtime? Because all she did is win. She won. She won now.
Of course she won.
So she won. So the media puts on the front page.
Is the fine $12,000?
Yeah, it's up to 12.
Well, that was probably paid by, whatever organisation. There you go. She didn't cost her a cent.
Or whoever she
Does she get a
direct action now, whatever they're called?
Does she get some sort of criminal record?
I don't know. Well, she should. No? Yeah.
Well done for the Dockers player who tackled her.
Oh, yeah. No, it's fair. And I found that, then I was looking in the paper as well. It was on Monday's paper, I think it was Monday's or something, one of the papers, and they had a whole spread on that game, and they had a photo of the player, and the biggest photo was her jumping the thing. I'm like, of course, come on, man, this is the first time there's a AFLW derby. Shouldn't have been on that lady scored all the goals.
Totally agree. But however, the media doesn't get punished for this by the consumer. That's the problem.
Well, I don't buy the West Australian anymore.
No, I wouldn't spend a cent on the West Australian at the moment. Because it's become a shit rag. It's become a tabloid, right? However, they're doing some decent stuff, I suppose, with the Claremont trial, and there's another thing we'd probably touch on, maybe not in this one. I think that they've been doing good reporting on that type of stuff, right? But a lot of the time, it's just tabloid stuff.
Yeah.
But going back to what I was saying about the consumer doesn't make them pay for being crap news or tabloid news, right? Whether it's online, whether it's the newspaper, people click on this stuff. That's what I'm getting with, right? I'm getting at. People like to read this stuff.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
that's why they keep catering to that demand.
There's no other newspaper here. It's not like in Sydney.
Not just the newspaper, not
Telegraph or the Herald,
whether it's news.com.au or any of the other ones.
Birth Now,
same thing, right? People click on it. That's why they keep providing the content. Okay, if they knew that a story about a vegan protester taking over the narrative of the first AFLW derby was going to piss, if they knew that the media knew that was going to piss people off, they wouldn't make a big deal of it, right? It was on the nightly TV news as well, right? They made a big hash of. They interviewed the woman. They should have given her no airtime, but
it's not news.
Everyone wants to see what she's got to say, right? So it's your fault, it's my fault, it's everyone's fault. Yeah, okay, I would prefer not to her to get any airtime, and I'd think, stuff you. There you go, you did it for nothing. But
and also
she got what she wanted.
With the other guy that got charged with trespassing and stealing the calf. The vegan protester, the other one who broke onto a farm. That's the second time he's done that.
That was a while back now.
No, it was this week. It was a week.
This week?
Yeah.
All right, I didn't hear this one.
Anyway, it's the second time he's just passed. I was like,
okay, so he got an interview as well, did he?
So, yeah, he goes on and continue doing it.
Of course. So he wouldn't bother doing it if
the judge gave him a suspended sentence, a fine. I was like, see, this is the second time he's done it. He's obviously didn't learn from the first time. He's going to do it again.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I was like, come on.
I mean, the part of the reason why he's going to do it again is because he knows he's going to get the attention every time he does it, and the attention comes. I don't know. This is it. This is the way it goes these days. You wouldn't catch me spending money on, and maybe that's why too, right? They're not making money. They've got to find ways to get these clicks for advertising revenue. And it works. Look, at the end of the day, they study the human psyche, human psychology, whatever you want to call it, right? They know what gets clicks. They know what gets eyeballs on things. People like drama. People like tabloid type of stories. You know, it works. I don't know. You can't just change the human mentality, the human brain. That's what works. So it's going to continue to be given to us in media.
What do you do? Oh.
All right, I'll run. I'll run out of...
Yeah, no, there's plenty of stuff. We've covered a fair bit. So.
There we have. Okay. All right, I think we've come to the end and we've gone an hour and 15, so it's not bad.
Not bad. I've done all right.
I thought we'd struggle to get 20 minutes.
There's always so plenty to talk about in this wonderful world of ours.
All right, let's wrap up the first episode of Chronicles on the Fly. And I don't know when this will drop, and I don't know when we'll do the next one, but we'll work that out as we wing it.
All right, thanks.
All right, ciao.